Hello and welcome to some notes on how to name and write acids. A few slides here in the beginning will be definitional. Please copy the definitions down into your notes if you do not have them. Binary acids, oxyacids, this slide is very important. It's the mnemonic device or the way to remember how to name acids, generally speaking. The acids we're going to cover, you can use these three tricks to name them in this course. Ich to ate, ich I ate it. Ite to us, laryngitis is the trick to memorize that. And hydric to I, when I hydroplane, I slide. Let me show you how to apply these. So we're going to go through each of these. You should be able to follow along in your notes with these. So first thing you want to do is you want to look at how do you know it's an acid. It starts with the hydrogen. For our purposes of our class, if it starts with the hydrogen, we're going to name it as an acid. Unless it's H2O, then we'll just call that water, or name it as a covalent for H2O. So this is an acid because it starts with hydrogen. I'm going to circle the stuff after the hydrogen. I'm going to look it up on my ion sheet. I will see that that's nitrate. Then I'll look down here to see what I want to do in terms of which rule. So it ends in 8. So then I know it's an 8 to ich. So I'm going to drop the 8, and this would be nitric acid. Another example. Again, I know it's an acid because it starts with hydrogen. Circle the part afterwards. I look up CO3 on my ion sheet. I see that it's carbonate. Remember, your ion sheet is on the back of your periodic table. So I have an 8 to ich. So I drop the 8 and add ich acid. So carbonic acid. Again, know it's an acid, or we're going to name it as an acid because it starts with the hydrogen. Circle the thing after the hydrogen. I look up on my ion sheet Cl with no other atoms is chloride. So it's an I dihydroic. So we're going to put hydro on the front. Drop the I and add ich acid. So hydrochloric acid probably is the most familiar acid to folks. Again, know it's an acid, starts with hydrogen. Circle the stuff that's after it. I know this is nitrite. You will look these up on your ion sheet. Ite to us. So this is nitrous acid. Circle the thing after hydrogen. Fluorine. So, sorry, fluoride. Fluorine would be by itself. When it's with hydrogen, it's an ion, so it's fluoride. Not fluorine, please use fluoride. So fluoride. So hydrofluoric acid. Sulfur substances and phosphorus substances have to be particularly difficult. They will go back to their periodic table name versus what they come. Let me show you here. So this is sulfate. So you're going to drop the ending and add ich acid, but the sulfur part is going to go back to its periodic table name. So we're going to call, 8 to ich, sulfuric. So there's that word sulfur right here, ich acid. So you go back to, for sulfur products and phosphorus products, you're going to go back to their periodic table name. So this is phosphite. So phosphite is going to be an I to us, but remember phosphorus and sulfur products go back to their name off the periodic table. So phosphorus acid. Okay. Again, this is bromide. So hydroic, so hydrobromic acid. This will be for class purposes. We will do it if you're in class with me. Let me go back for just a moment to these. I want to mention one thing now that we've gone through some examples. I want to mention that not every single acid starts with hydro. The only ones that start with hydro if it ends in an ide. So notice this is an acid. It does not have hydro in the front. Okay, so again, I was saying that this is an acid, but it doesn't have hydro in front. So the hydrogen in front does not make it go hydro in front. Only when it's an ide does it get hydro in front as an acid. Here again, no hydro. It ends in ic, so it's carbonic. This is hydro because of the ide ending right here. Another acid, but it's not named as a hydro because, again, it ends in ite, so that means ite to us. This is an ide ending, so it has hydro on the front because hydro and ide, hydroic, go together. This is an 8, so there's no hydro on the front because, again, the only time it can have hydro if it ends in ide. This ends in 8, and 8s go to ic, so sulfuric. Phosphite, so phosphorus. This is an ide ending on the anion, so I should expect to see hydro in the front because it ends, so hydrobromic. All right, the opposite method now. So now we're going to have our ion sheet out. We're going to look up the ending and use the ion sheet to figure out how to write the acid from its name. So we have an ic, but notice that we have an ic acid or a hydroic acid. We got to decide which one we're using because the rule depends on which one we're using. This is just an ic. There's no hydro in front here. So just an ic to acid. So ic goes to 8. So that means it comes from perchlorate. The 8 and the ic go together, so it comes from perchlorate. You will look up perchlorate on your ion sheet, and you will see that it's Cl O4 1-. That's the ion for perchlorate. So you'll put the same number of hydrogens in front as you have negatives. So I have a -1. So I'm going to put HClO4. Notice that my formula has no pluses or minuses left. All the pluses and minuses go away. So this is an us acid, so I'm using this rule, so us to ite. So that must mean it comes from sulfite. Sulfite is SO3 2-. Because there's a -2 here, that means I put 2 H's in front. Of course, that 2 becomes a subscript, H2SO3. This is hydro, so it's an ic. So is it this kind of ic, or is it this ic? Both have ic at the end. But so if you have an ic, got to look to the front. Is there a hydro there? There is. So this is a hydroic. Okay, it's a hydroic. So then I know it comes from phosphide, because a hydroic goes to ide, or an ide made of hydroic, whichever way you want to look at it. And this is P3-. P3-, so that means because there's a 3- here, I put 3 H's in front of the acid. Okay, we have an ic. So is it this ic, or is it this ic? Because both end in ic. I do not see hydro here, so it is not hydro, it's plain old ic. So that must mean this comes from chlorate, because ic and 8 go together. Chlorate is Cl O3 1-. There's a -1 right here, so it's HClO3 would be the formula. 1H because I have a -1 charge on the ion. Now this is an us acid. Please don't get confused. This right here says hypo, not hydro. They're different words. This is an us acid, so it's us to ite. So that must mean it comes from hypochlorite chlorite. Hypochlorite is Cl, 1 minus on your ion sheet. So HClO is how many hydrogens go in front. This is an ick. It's a hydroic, so it's this one. Hydroic go to I, so let me try that again. Iodide. So that's going to be I, 1 minus. Remember, once you know this, you can look this up on your ion sheet, and it's going to be HI for its formula name. -1, so it gets one H out in front. This is an us, so that must mean it comes from phosphite. Phosphite is PO3, 1 minus. Apologize, PO3, 3 minus. It's rushing there. PO3, 3 minus. So how many H's go in front? You should be saying to yourself 3, because it has a 3 minus charge. This is an ick, but it's a hydroic. So not this one. It's this one. So it comes from sulfide. Sulfide is S2 minus, so H2S is your formula because it's 2 minus, so it gets 2 hydrogens in the front. The rest of these will be done in class as we work through them. Thank you for your time.